think we're gonna need a cheat sheet for a little while. Okay. So, he gets on a bus. He wakes up in a pioneer camp. And he feels weird about it. He stays like 5 days, 4 days. Then he wakes up in a bus, and this time it was just a dream. Didn't feel real or anything. He was just dreaming about a script that he had been writing. So it was a script all along. It was his story that he'd been writing. Now we're shooting a movie about this pioneer camp where alright. So meta. I was just finishing eating the rubber-like oatmeal when suddenly Olga ran into the canteen, waving her hands. She looked around emotionlessly, and after a glance at me, she finally headed towards our table at a fast walk. Right, and now we're back in the camp, but this time our ex-girlfriend, Masha, I think she's called. Masha, yeah. She is with us in the pioneer camp, and everyone is behaving like they are pioneers. Again. Oh, here you are. Let's go have a talk, she hissed below her breath right in my face. It seemed that objecting wasn't worth it, so I got up, nodded to Masha, and we headed after Olga. After we got outside, she turned around abruptly and said, "So, where were you last night?" "Should you care?" I shrugged. "I should. Did you know that Slavia is missing?" "Yeah, I just heard from Lena." "Exactly. I went searching for her and found her." It looked like she was desperately fighting back tears. "That's good news then." "Come on, let me show you," she said quietly and headed in the direction of the forest. I looked at Masha. "Maybe we shouldn't," says Masha. "What's wrong with it?" I said. However, my inner voice was agreeing with her. "Yeah, Olga is acting super strange." Like, "Oh, where were you last night?" That's one thing. Then Slavia went missing, but then she isn't missing anymore and you're crying. Like, so Olga is supposed to be the adult and we're supposed to be the kids in Olga's mind, right? So if we have another suicide on our hands, then why the fuck would she bring some kids and blame them just because they were doing something else? I don't know. "All right then, but I'm afraid," said Masha. "Everything will be fine," I said. I tried smiling, but even without a mirror, it was obvious that my smile was so fake that it made me sick. Soon enough, we came to a small glade. "There," Olga pointed at a tree. Took a few steps and suddenly spotted a detached human arm. Yeah, there we go. That doesn't sound like a suicide. In fact, it wasn't even detached, more like it had been torn off. Masha peered out from behind my shoulder and screamed in terror straight away. "Don't look!" She burst into tears and rushed into Olga's arms. I made a considerable effort. I took a look behind the tree to ensure that it was indeed Slavia. Body parts were lying there, an arm, a leg, ruptured in several places, a piece of flesh from the chest, a head with hair clotted with blood, and deeply sunken glassy eyes. What the fuck? Slavia is now multiple Slavia, says Colgate in on tap. What the fuck is going on this time? Now we're in some sort of horror story, I guess. I felt like vomiting and instinctively averted my gaze. That was fucked up. Who did this? I said. How would I know? Said Olga in a surprisingly stone cold voice. Throughout the camp, you're the only one without an alibi. Why haven't you called the police? Right. Well, maybe she's in shock. Yeah, she's in shock. She doesn't know what she's doing, I guess. Masha continued to cry, now on my shoulder. What, you seriously think we were able to do this? I gazed at her in fury. Now it didn't matter much what was happening here, silly jokes or something more serious. A person had been murdered. They don't have a phone there, remember, says Colgate in on tap. Yeah, but I mean... Yeah, but the lines are super blurry now. Where did all the equipment go? It gone away? I mean, they have a TV, and they got a radio station, and they got radio equipment, right? Oh, I guess. They're isolated. That makes more sense for the story. No contact with the outer world. Person had been murdered, a person who we knew, Slavia or Sasha, it makes no difference. Well, no, she hesitated, but someone did it after all. I would say some wild animals, probably wolves. There were never any wolves around. Do you think a human could have done it? Olga says, well, there's no one else to blame. No, that makes no sense at all. It just can't. I hugged Masha tighter. Her sobbing became quieter. Anyway, we have to call the police. Here we go. Of course we have to. Let's go. The district center is pretty far from the camp. Police won't get here anytime soon. Night was falling. I was sitting at the square and watching the sunset. Oh no, they did have a phone. Right? Masha was sleeping in Olga's cabin. It all shocked her much more than us, for many reasons. There were two main questions in my mind. First, what is happening here? Second, who murdered Slavia or Sasha? Anyway, who's the murderer? Colgate says, yeah, it's good that Olga doesn't get inconvenienced by such minor details as not having a phone. Yeah, it's been very strange. Did she say straight out that she didn't have a phone, or she said that he couldn't phone his parents? But that was like in a different timeline. We're in we had all the first timelines, right? Where he goes to the camp and then wakes up, right? Now we're in a completely different timeline where it's a story and they're filming, but then they get teleported to. So this place is completely different. It has different rules. You can't assume that everything is like he wrote it in the story. I think. I don't know. Too much meta narratives. It's Banana Monkey. Yeah. No, this is a completely different story. First one could be postponed for the time being. It was the first one again. It was who murdered and what's happening, and the second, who murdered. And he had no idea how to deal with second question. Despite all the confusion, the conclusion of her being savaged by wild beasts seemed to me to be the most reasonable explanation. I don't care if there are any wolves here or not. Now he's looking for reasonable explanations. Like no aliens that killed her or anything. Like he said alien. Oh, well, it's not Simeon now. It's a different character altogether. Mm. Even on those first timelines, Olga talks about calling the police on day 4 when Shirt goes missing. Yeah, she does. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Could have even been a bear or a badger, but certainly not a human. No one would be able to do something like that without additional tools. Yeah, so a human with tools could have done it. And the type of wounds made clear that the unfortunate victim had been dismembered with bare hands or paws. All right. And he knows that. Why? How? Do you think you could see the difference? Like if you found a body, if it had been ripped apart or cut apart? I'm trying not to throw up. I mean, would recommend. I would probably recognize like scratch marks, like claw marks from paws. They didn't say anything about that. Like ripped apart or cut apart. Like, are there any animals who would rip apart? No. They would all claw. Well, claw and rip. Rip and tear! They would, I think. Though it's true enough that an enraged human can gain nearly superhuman strength. I mean, Banana Waffle Monkey says polar bears doesn't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck? Don't give a fuck, he says. But then again, like, thinking about bears, like, even if it's like a grizzly bear or whatever, it would have been claw marks, right? Rip and tear. Claw marks would be easily recognizable, rather than if a human tried to cut up another human, I think. I'm just speculating here. I'm long time I thought dead body, and that was on a funeral, right? Not Simeon, the narrator, may have got some education on how to make a body look correct during film studies. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, film studies, like doing mystery and crime stuff. Yeah, maybe. Though it's true that yeah, superhuman strength. I mean, I don't like the linguistics here, like superhuman. It would imply that humans can't get that strong, right? Isn't that super is above or better than or something like that? Isn't that super means? Übermensch. Well, that's a completely different thing, though. Übermensch. That's a morality thing. If you want to see someone that strong, just take away their phone and try to play keep away. That strong so they can rip you apart? I don't think so, dude. I think we need, like, if we want to see someone that strong, we want to see some bodybuilding going on. The type of muscly dude where it seems like a small dude is jumping out of the shoulders of a big dude, like muscles everywhere and super strength. Maybe some drugs, steroids, you know. Mm, I guess I have no idea. But of all the people gathered here, who would be able to do something like that? Rooter, Lena, maybe Olga herself. No, that's stupid. But even so, there were many children apart from them in the canteen and at the square. But am I really going to interrogate every single one of them? He doesn't seem like a writer anymore. Now he seems like a detective. Like, why would he try to figure it out? Well, maybe he's in shock as well. What the fuck is going on? Who would do this? He's trying to. There we go. That's a job for the police. Agreed. Then what's there to be afraid of? Maybe I'm not afraid for myself. Well, seemed like a rough way to go. I would probably be terrified. Getting on tab says he's scared. Yeah, exactly. I would probably be terrified, right? Seeing someone ripped apart and then just being stuck at that same location with no adult supervision. Well, also where people are acting super strange. But for Masha. Kogetinotab says I would be pretty paranoid. Yeah, jumping at shadows. Holy shit, indeed. I would probably not be out here in this camp where he's at. I would probably be with Masha, locked all the doors, with something as close to a baseball bat or any other weapon that I could produce in this situation, like a big stick. I don't know, some kind of weaponry. Stand By Me, Stephen King much? Oh man, that was so. That's the kid who found the body, right? Or am I misremembering that? I don't remember Stand By Me, but. Right, I need to check how she's doing. Yeah, exactly. You need that. Four kids walking down the train tracks, yeah. That I remember that they found the body, but I don't remember anything else. Do you recommend watching it again? Stand By Me? I was just about to get up when I suddenly sensed someone's presence. I looked back and saw Lena. Oh, I didn't want to scare you. Oh, it's okay. Can I sit here? Yeah, sit down, please. She fixed her skirt with a neat move, sat down, and started staring at the sunset. How sad this all is. Yeah, not much to rejoice about. What do you think could have done that? How should I know? Certainly not me. No, it's not like I suspect you or anything. She began waving her hands in a funny manner. Well, thanks for that, I smirked sadly. But that must have been done by a very cruel, very evil person. Evil, eh? Well, not necessarily. Lena glanced at me in confusion. Maybe it was a one-off delusion. After all, in everyday life, maniacs can be the nicest of people. So, are you saying that? Her eyes widened and her jaw dropped a little. It, it could have been done by any of us. Well, I'm not asserting that for sure, but the circle of suspects is quite large. No, none of the children could do that. No one. Well, if they all banded together, perhaps. Yeah, like many people together could rip a human apart, I guess. Banana Waffle Monkey don't remember enough about it himself to recommend it or not. Anyway, it's up to the police to deal with it. We spent some more time sitting in silence. I was about to leave when Lena suddenly whispered, "Oh, could you—" What? An unnatural grin appeared on her face. That's creepy. A devil's grin, so I thought. Could you have murdered Slavia? Of course not. But you two didn't get along very well. Why do you think so? We were getting along just fine. It suddenly became clear that Lena, most likely, is not talking about me. More precisely, not the me from yesterday. And not the Slavia whose name is Sasha. I was sure about that. No, it wasn't me. Okay. Relax, I'm not accusing you. Might as wet this smile. She gave me a look, and for a second her eyes seemed red to me. That Lena is crazy. Cray. Maybe it was just a reflection of the sunset. I'm glad you got everything right. But it was you who said that everyone is worth suspecting. I didn't tell you to suspect everyone. I meant that we don't know who the criminal is. Yet. Oh, I see. Well, I hope I don't become the next victim. Then I said loudly and burst out laughing. The way she did it gave me the creeps. Okay, it's time to go. She got up and swiftly left the square. Weird shit. Very weird. I chose not to linger and headed to Olga's cabin. ... It was now completely dark. Masha was still sleeping, so I decided not to wake her and quietly climbed in next to her. Our director, or camp leader, as the local residents kept referring to her, was still nowhere to be seen. If she enters now, it will all get very uncomfortable. Well, it might, at the very least. Anyway, who cares? A person has been murdered. It's not the time for such trifles. Agreed. And anyway, we still have to find out what's going on. Why does everyone keep acting like they're pioneers? It seems to me that until it becomes clear who the real criminal is, this whole ridiculous carnival won't stop. It seems to me until it becomes clear. All right, if you say so. Using some Semyon logic there. The real question was, what is the cause and what is the effect? Either everyone keeps pretending because Slavia was murdered. Doesn't make sense. Still couldn't accept that Sasha was the victim, so I kept telling myself that it was indeed Slavia. Slavia was killed because everyone keeps pretending. Damn it, I got lost entirely in such a brainstorm. He's not going to get me anywhere. Yeah, he's just starting to behave more and more like Semyon. Like, they've been talking about people acting strangely, and that he seems to be caring more than Semyon does, but where did all the equipment go? Is the equipment there? Where is everybody's cell phones, right? There's many ways to check. And if he's such a detective in this timeline, don't behave like Semyon did, right? Damn it, I got lost entirely, and such brainstorming is not getting me anywhere indeed. The door creaked faintly. Cautiously, I rose on my elbow a bit and peered into the darkness. A few torturous moments passed, but ultimately no one came in. Well, I guess it's no use to just lie down and wait. Right now, it's just probably the wind blowing or something like that. But this late at night, when everyone is asleep... Colgate Innontap says he gets lost in thought less than Semyon. Yeah, probably. So far it seems that way, indeed. Stood up, grabbed my trousers in the dark, and looked around. It was hardly probable that I might find something that could be used as a means of self-defense here. Now that I think about it, now that he mentions it, Semyon did not once arm himself, right? I don't think so. In the camp, like in the early camp when he got there. Interesting. But I, at least, had to give it a try, indeed. Now he figures that out. Rummaging through the cabin's contents, I stumbled on a locked drawer inside the cabinet. Sure, I'd love to find a gun, or at least some kind of heavy crowbar there. However, I totally understood that I really shouldn't hold my breath for one, indeed. It had to be locked for a reason. I pushed the cabinet from the wall, estimated where exactly on the backside the drawer was, and gave it a sharp and precise, so I would not wake Mush up, kick with my leg. The plywood cracked, and some things spilled forth from the drawer. Underwear, more underwear, matches. Oh, they might just come in handy. I shoved the matchbox into my pocket, and at the same moment I heard some strange noises from outside the door, as if some wild animal was scratching on it. Surely, if that is the real criminal, I won't stand a chance against him. One shouldn't shrug off the possibility that it was the work of a local pioneer. He may have gone crazy, or he was just insane from the start. Anyway, I should be still able to knock out any of the local residents. Oh? Even if he came at me with a knife. Oh! Thinking about a weapon gave me the creeps. It's very confident of him. No, I shouldn't be so overconfident. If I get into an encounter with someone who is, for example, armed with a knife, then I must shut the door, barricade all entrances, and wait for help. Well, if you get into an encounter with someone with a knife, isn't it too late to shut the door? You probably couldn't get a hold of a firearm here, although... Still hasn't locked the door, eh? The door creaked once more and opened up an inch. I closed my eyes for a second and violently pulled it open, gathering all my strength. I heard a choked scream and saw Alisa spread-eagled on the doorstep. Spread-eagled? Never seen that word before. Banana Waffle Monkey asks, that poster on the far left always changes, doesn't it? Nope, it doesn't. Well, it depends on what room we're in. We'll Google it. It's been the same in this room all the time. But of course it changes depending in whose room it is. Like her room is the metal one with the heavy metal posters. I don't remember what's The others, quite sure. Oh, it's just you, I said. I heaved a sigh of relief. Don't scare people like that. Want to give me a heart attack? She got up, dusted off her clothes slowly, and glanced at me guiltily. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's just, it could be dangerous to walk alone around the camp during the night. What with all the stuff that's happening? I stopped short. Happening implies an ongoing process. Yeah, it is an ongoing process. As if something was still going to happen. I mean, happened. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Oh, I ordered some stuff. It recommended to sell me some clothes. And I was so surprised that the place that sold me the Mark Fronde was like a Pirate Bay t-shirt. It was like, how did they know? So I bought that and sell that t-shirt as well. And Ocarina of Time was one of my favorites all time. It's stuff. That's why I came, says Alisa. I was looking at the ground and trembling slightly. It's already late, but Uliana is still nowhere to be seen. She raised her eyes to me, and I saw tears running down her cheeks. I mean, now that I think about it, it's gotta be Shurik, right? Shurik gone mental somehow. Well, whatever made Shurik mad, and well, it's too meta. It's not the same story anymore, so we can't really compare the two. It's all new rules. She raised her eyes to me, and I saw tears running down her cheeks. Where could she have gone? I asked. It wasn't like I was really concerned, but I asked because I felt that I had to calm the situation. That's my stomach. Wanting food. It's a bit early for food. It was perfectly clear that there's absolutely nothing to do in this camp at night. If there's electricity available, then everyone watches movies on their laptops. If not, then they would just read books by the candlelight. Wandering under the moon shouldn't be on that list. I don't know. Okay, let's think through it without any fuss. I walked over to the table and picked up a clock. It's midnight. Sure, everyone should be already at their cabins by this time. Scary thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Where's Olga? Let's go outside and talk there. Don't want us to wake up Miku. As we went out, I took a place by the stairs and started to think. Alisa stood beside me, wringing her hands with a pained look on her face as she watched full moon rise. We have to call the police, said Alisa. We've already called them, I said. But back then it was only Slavia, and now it's also Diana. Dead. And Olga. Have you seen her? No. But what? Is she too? Alisa burst into tears. We still don't know anything, but nevertheless, it's clear that something is going on here. Even if they're not just pretending to be pioneers, and something really has happened to the world right now, I could have quite a good chance of departing from it without getting any answers for my questions. Right? So I have to focus on survival. Survival. The word hit like a sharp pain. to the back of the head. Survival. Just yesterday, I didn't need to give the slightest consideration to anything like that. Mm. The quiet summer night was raining over everything around us. Not a breath of wind, not a rustle of grass, or a whisper of moving leaves could be heard. What about all the crickets? Nothing. Just a reflection of the moonlight in the cabin's windows, sparse clouds up in the sky, and yet impenetrable darkness all around. They say that when you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. Is that Nietzsche or Jung? Heard that many times lately. People say that when you gaze into the abyss also gazes into you. It is Nietzsche. Thanks, Banana Waffle Monkey. I've heard it so many times and people say it, but I don't quite understand what it means. I'm thinking abyss is like a hellish metaphor, like, what is the abyss? I would, like, just going for it, I would go for the void, but that's not it. Not in Path of Exile. In Path of Exile, it's the depth, right? The depths of hell, I suppose. Banana Waffle Monkey don't either, but he would assume that it would make more sense in the context of whatever he was writing when he said that. Yeah, it's a contextual thing. So the abyss in here means penetrable darkness. So when you look into the darkness looks into you. I don't understand. Like, I mean, if, like we were talking about earlier, like if everything is, like you do an perception and interpretation of everything you see, then, I mean, yeah, everything you look at is mirrored within you, I guess. I don't know the Nietzsche quote. We don't need to get into that. Look at this example here. Then, I mean, it doesn't have to be the abyss. Then it can be the light or the whatever, you know. Colgate In on Tap says, when you dwell in darkness, you only get deeper into darkness. So what is darkness in this metaphor? I mean, when I dwell in darkness, my eyesight adapts and I can see better in the darkness. So the darkness becomes brighter, right? Like if we're talking literally what darkness is, like the absence of light. You know, your pupils get wider and you get to see better when you dwell in darkness. Or is it like the metaphorical darkness, like the abyss, like the hellish, the evil, whatever the hell that is? So is it then like the Three Monkeys, that kind of thing? Colgate In on Tap says, true. You get more used to it. Darkness seems lighter for you. Oh. So if you do take it like a metaphor for some sort of moral decay. Oh man, I heard this. Oh, there's this border. Someone was talking about it recently in a video where they talk about like you have normal values, like you say Colgate In on Tap. Like you have a border, like here is the best type of person you can imagine, and here's the worst type of person you can imagine. And that is like you live in norms where you have like a border here. Like here are the extremist people that exist, like in different places in the world, like in different contexts. This line can switch back and forth. Like where I live, for example, I live in a small town in Sweden. We don't really have murders here. Like it's unthinkable to, like if I piss someone off, and we become mean to each other. Like there are a lot of fights and people getting beat up and robbed, I suppose, happens rarely, but like going out at night, I'm not afraid of that. I mean, it is more like drunken kids. If I piss them off, I'm afraid that they might beat me up. But that's like the worst thing. So that is what's normalized in, that is like the worst end of the type of behavior. But if I move to a different context, and if we move to a different context, a darker context, to more violence, more violence, more violence. Banana Waffle Monkey says, my state has Detroit and Flint. I'm guessing Detroit has a lot of murders, and Flint, I heard about that as well. Wasn't that like school shootings? Like, it becomes normalized the more it happens, like a catch-22, like a bad spiral. I mean, no, not a catch-22, like a bad negative spiral. It just gets worse and worse. Like, school shooting is in America, it's just America in general. All right. So what's about Flint? Well, like you have a lot of more violence, so in your context, one would assume that like more violence would be more normal and be more in the norm. Like higher murder rates makes, yeah, like it's normalized with murder and violent crimes. Like you've got high of that, so you might be considering bringing out a weapon, going out late in the evening, a city like that, for example. Well, in a small town like where I'm living, no one would like bring a gun. Like even if they could get a hold of one, which most people can't here. Even if they had one, they wouldn't bring one out of fear, nor a knife. Like it's seen it happen like once or twice, someone bringing out a knife, but that was more like kids trying to be cool. Like, oh look, I have a knife. They wouldn't stab someone unless like perfect storm kind of thing. Banana Waffle Monkey says that Flint has an issue with lead in the water. Oh, right. That's where I remembered it from. Because something that got fucked up with the pipes and the bureaucracy shit, yada yada yada. I'm sure it isn't helping. Been like that for a couple of years now. That's fucked up. That doesn't sound too good indeed. So maybe in this, like, yeah. About it when you gaze into the abyss. The gaze is maybe not just looking like the three monkeys, it's more like spending time in the abyss. The abyss. I mean, it's just like you adapt to your environment. Is that what it means? I mean, I would totally agree with that. Banana Waffle Monkey says, wealthiest nation in the world can't allocate money to fix some fucking pipes for an entire city. Is it the wealthiest nation in the world? What is wealth? For me, I've decoupled that word quite heavily from money. My wealth is something else. Banana Waffle Monkey says he's not sure, but he's heard America call that a lot. Yeah. Hence the quotes. Indeed, wealthiest nation in the world. Okay, it's irony. Infrastructure. It's gotta be a switch, more hardworking, more fixing stuff. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And the grasshoppers. Ah, right. He said it was all silence, but now here we go. Grasshoppers. These damn critters are pulling a double shift of DJing. Weird. As if they're constantly on duty. As the day shift winds up the night shift. You get up. Sleep begins. Alright. Wait. Banana Waffle Mug says, ah, fuck yeah, I just found a hidden currency delve node. Hidden currency. Sounds exciting. Node. I don't think I've ever seen that. It sounds like all the monies. Then the night knocks off, and I have to find some insecticide after all. At least I can wipe out a couple of divisions. With any luck, that would get me some quiet living space around this cabin. Sure, I can't destroy them all. What the heck, there are probably more of them than there are humans in the entire world. Here we go. When you look into the abyss looks into you. Oh, murder! So now I'm becoming murderous. Is that what's happening here? I would say that that is not what happens, though. More than humans in that entire world. That's one like one project that I would see, like political project for Sweden, like doing proper research on ticks. See, like, do they have an important use so that we can't live without them? And even if they do, their population has increased rapidly for many years now. So, like, tick population control or eradication. Eradication. I fucking hate ticks. There we go. Murder. That's an interesting, like, political project for a country. How would we go about eradicating ticks? Getting rid of them. All of them. Man, that would be something. Good times. Ah, that is a genocide I could get behind. Can you have them delete mosquitoes too, please? Ah, can you have them delete mosquitoes? Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure mosquitoes is a lot of bird food. It's Control A, Control X, the fuckers. Oh, you're talking to Linux nerds. I don't think we do Control A, Control X. Well, probably in here. Probably. Yeah, we do. Haven't used Control A in ages. Not in Vim, at least. Colgate in on tap does sometimes, yeah. I have like in the web browser, sure, but I usually don't need everything from a web browser. But I'm editing in Vim, man. Totally gone over to Vim now, and I really like it. But I think mosquitoes have an important role to play. So yeah, delete like a lot of them, like in the wetlands where they have like the jungles where there are so many diseases. Colgate in on tap says I should learn to use Vim. I usually use Nano, but I've heard good things about Vim. I mean, it's not that different from Nano, really. When I started learning Vim, it was a couple of months ago. I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like difficult and everything. All these key bindings, but I don't even use. I use the arrow keys to move around. There are a few really good key bindings, like going to the top, going to the bottom, and the search function is amazing. Search function is great, and the search and replace is great. I don't need much more than that, so I could probably just as easily just use Nano. But now I got used to them. It's like there is, what does it take? Like half an hour to learn Vim? There is, like if you just do, it's probably on your as well. If you just type Vim tutor. Welcome to the Vim tutor. As long as you have Vim, I'm pretty sure this it takes. Well, I'm a bit slow, but just going through this, say half an hour, then after that, you know enough. Then it's, I think it's the settings, like the configuration you can do in Vim. Like this doesn't look very good. You can, yeah, there's a lot of configurations that's really helpful, really useful, that I enjoyed. Like you can make configurations for types of files and everything. Yeah, I like it. Can you hear it? Says Elisa. Elisa sat down and huddled up against me. Her entire body was trembling. Hear what? I strained my ears. It seemed that somebody was slowly walking down the path to our cabin. I couldn't make anything out in the dark, but the steps grew more and more audible with every second. Okay, don't sweat it. He won't dare attack the two of us. Although I wasn't really sure about that. My hands instinctively started to search for something that I could use to defend myself. Oh, he didn't find anything. Hey, says Salita. Oh, oops, sorry. Soon enough, I found a piece of water pipe underneath the bench. Oh, nice. Not much help, of course. It's way too thick and uncomfortable to wield properly. Still better than going out empty-handed. Oh, weight and heavy stuff, like it's any equipment is better than no equipment. Like if you got the range, then you win. Pretty much. Not necessarily. I mean, and I'm guessing none of them are skilled like sword fighters or something like that. Like in our days, the best thing you do, like if everything goes to shit and humans start killing humans and you need to learn to defend yourself and there are no guns, let's assume that, then the best you can do is a spear. Just get the range, then you win against most people. Because a human is quite a big target. Banana Waffle Monkey says, if that happens, I'm getting a lighter and some hairspray. Oh, dude, the spear wins. I've got longer range with the spear. Do you get like a meter range? Maybe. I don't know how much that is in freedom units, I think you call them. Wait, person is like what? 6 foot? So like 3 feet range? 3, 4 feet with a lighter and some hairspray. Banana Waffle Monkey says, we don't know what the fuck is going on with our units either. Well, I mean, I get it. One time, hundreds years ago, it was easier, you know. You could, how long is a foot? Yeah, you have like so many feet. Like it was the length of a foot, right? That makes sense. Now we have better abstractions, though, but it's difficult. Like we've been talking about IPAs and lingua francas and time being base 10 and all that stuff. It's difficult to change when you get stuck in your ways. You need a lot of political strength to do that. You need democracy. You need people who are involved in these questions. You need people to agree to something. Therefore, you need more democracy, and you don't have that at the moment. The mere sight of this monstrosity would make anyone pee themselves. Well, most likely from laughter. There's nothing I can do. We're as good as sitting ducks here, so I'd rather move out towards the enemy. I couldn't say that I was bursting with courage and valor. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I was really freaking out. It just seemed that I had no other choice. I took a deep breath and slowly headed into the darkness. Can't be brave without fear. Soon enough, I could make out more features of the stranger's silhouette. Not very tall, weird hairstyle, a skirt. That ought to be Lena. I lowered my guard. What are you doing here this late at night? Lena's face was stained with tears. Come on. I led her to Alisa. As Lena was coming back to her senses, she tried to explain what happened. I was just sitting alone, and it's already quite late, but Miku was still missing. And what happened with Slavia, and still couldn't, I still couldn't reconcile this image of Lena, a sobbing girl in front of me, with the one that I saw at the square a few hours ago, with the grin of the devil and the hellish flames in her eyes. Maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe not. By any chance, do you know where Uliana or Olga are? She raised her surprised eyes to me. No, why? Are they also missing? Well, so far we can't be sure. Simeon, said Alisa. At first I didn't realize that she was addressing me. Huh? Don't you think it's way too quiet in the camp? Said Alisa. Night, everyone is sleeping, aren't they? I strained my ears. Indeed, there were no sounds besides these damned grasshoppers. I mean, no sounds whatsoever. What is this place usually like? I said. Quiet? Whispered Lena. Quiet, but not this quiet, said Alisa. I couldn't let the girls fall into panic. No, panic is contagious. Although I was starting to freak out myself. Yet there were a lot of reasons to. Humans disappearing into thin air, horrible murders, friends that pretend to be the pioneers until the very end. Seems like a good spot to end so we know what's going on. That was a misclick. I was ready to lose it. Okay, let's think rationally. The girl gave me a few questioning looks. People can't just disappear without a trace. That means... Nope, it doesn't mean anything. Suddenly we heard a rustle in the bushes behind the cabin. Before I could even grab my pipe, Rooter emerged from the darkness. Ah, here you are, he said. He didn't seem to be all that concerned about all the stuff happening around. Oh Lord, stop jumping out at people like that. The girls are gonna have a heart attack at this rate. Although I wasn't sure who was more frightened, them or me. Yeah, I apologize. Why have you come? There we go. Put that as dinner time. Why have you come? Look, I have no idea about anything that's going on. It's kind of swing and a miss in the mystery thing. Since we don't know any rules about this game, and like rules about the world that we're in right now, we can't really speculate into what the fuck is going on, right? Not with the murder. I mean, I would guess Shurik, since Shurik went mad here, but I don't know. Or maybe this, but that's like spoilers, right? Cat Girl might be spoilers. But like, there can be any rules. Like, there are no hints for me to try and figure out what the fuck is going on. Not with the world either, why they are behaving that way. Maybe it's like going back to the narrator, like becoming schizophrenic, having hallucination that he is Semyon. Well, like a split personality, schizophrenic kind of way, that he has different personalities with different types of hallucination depending on the person. I don't know. It's very weird. It can be anything. It can be just a dream, like they say over and over, that it is just a dream. Which would make a little bit of sense, I suppose. It does have a little bit similarities with dreams. Dreams are strange, weird, fluid. Doesn't have to make sense. And you just, like, when you're in a dream, like, there is a reality in the dream and you just follow that reality in the dream, however weird it is, right? I think. I'm not very good at dreams. I don't remember them. Dreams are fun, says Colgate in on top. Oh, are you a lucid dreamer, perhaps? I'm too lazy. I don't remember my dreams without like hassle of. He's not a lucid dreamer. Without like having a dream journal and stuff like that, it's quite a hassle for me to remember my dreams. So I usually don't bother. I just let them go. Yep, but now, thanks for hanging out. Some interesting discussions today as well. Very fun. Colgate, you don't have to remember some things. Yeah, sometimes I do as well. Once in a while, you know. You can practice if you find dreams are fun. Start a dream journal. Yeah, I've tried it. It works. You can't start remembering like all of them. Just waking up, writing them down when you wake up. And then just do that every day. You practice yourself to remember them. And when you practice that, you can also practice to become a lucid dreamer if you find dreams fun, that is. But yeah, I've got to go to lunch. See you guys.